Just wanted to talk about Tomy Sonic's plushes over the years. I haven't really been interested in a lot of the newer company stuff, so I was looking back and I was like, hey, I remember Tomy. I remember all their little plushes they made. So I'm gonna be going over all the plushes they've made in order, starting off with Classic Sonic. This is all the Tomy Classic Sonic plushes they've made over the years. Very first plush, which is from the 25th anniversary wave, the 25th anniversary Classic Sonic. Now, holy crap, this was one of the first non-Sonic Boom plushes Tomy has ever made, and their Sonic Boom line is definitely one of my favorites, but the 25th anniversary line is my favorite Tomy Sonic set. Generally, all the plushies in the set are really good, and Sonic here is just amazing, by the way. Go. Comparing him to their previous line for Sonic Boom, Tomy did a fantastic job turning Classic Sonic into a plush, and their Boom Sonic one is a great example. They added so many small details to the Sonic base that just made it a lot better. One, he has that nose just like how it is on the previous, on all the... First of all, there's not much to be said. He's a very standard Sonic, but because of how good he is, there's just not much to say because of how good this plush is. He straight up just looks like classic Sonic taken straight out of the artwork. And it's honestly amazing. He looks like he's taken straight out of the OVA, Sonic Mania Adventures. Like, genuinely, like, the spikes look fantastic. The face is fantastic. Like, everything is just really good. The metallic shine is also like a really nice touch. Like this plush, there's not much to be said because of how good it is. It's by far, this is one of my favorite plushes of Classic Sonic of all time, and I just can't really say much on him because of how good he is. What you see is what you get, a damn near perfect Classic Sonic. Comparing this guy to the last company we had, which was Jazzwares' Classic Sonic, much as I love the Jazzwares Classic Sonic plush, Tomys is just in a league of its own with this guy. And really, I was really excited for seeing what other characters they would make. Next plush we have from Tomy is this big dude. Funny enough, this plush actually has a couple of re-releases. This is the giant Classic Sonic by Tomy. There are two versions. They actually re-released this guy for the collector's wave. He's slightly different. Now, just like the small one, which that guy right there, this plush is also pretty good. He's more fat, so he captures the look of, like, I guess, how Classic Sonic is nowadays. So this plush is also really good and surprisingly really cheap. I'm surprised this guy is so cheap. My only complaint with this plush of Sonic, because of how good he is, and all I can really say is everything is fantastic. Like, there's just no problems with this. My only complaint with this plush is that I think his nose is a bit too small. Like, seriously, his nose is smaller than the regular Sonic. Okay, now we're getting to the collector's wave. This was the wave when Tomy finally got the ability to make modern Sonic merch. And one of the first characters they made was Classic Sonic. I mean, we did just have two, but yeah, let's make it three. And here is the collector's Classic Sonic, and Jesus Christ. Okay. I have a lot of things to say about this guy. For one, mine is defective, as you can clearly tell, just look at him. He's supposed to look a lot better than this, but sadly, mine is just not in the best condition. He's supposed to be doing a pose, kind of like the Great Eastern Classic Sonic. So he originally has his hand on his hip like this, and his hand on his head. So this is how he normally comes. Which, I mean, I don't like posable Sonic plushies that much, but this is the one exception, simply because we already had two Classic Sonics. I think this one making him a bit more unique. Okay, yeah, I could see that. But I do think this plush is a giant downgrade from the other two Classic Sonic plushes, and I'm going to explain why. Starting off with the body, for some weird reason with all the collector's characters, the stomach and arms use a different fabric than his actual face, which is really weird because the previous two Classic Sonics don't have that problem whatsoever. He also doesn't have the the dark red at the bottom of the shoes that literally every other Tomy classic Sonic plush has. So they just kind of forgot that on this one. The spikes is, you know, the spikes are fine, you know, like I think that Sonic spikes on, like I think the spikes on Tomy is fantastic. There is just no negatives on the spikes. The ears are also a different fabric color, but I guess that sort of gets a pass because the giant Sonic has that problem too. And I guess the last thing I don't like about this plush, his nose. I kind of hate how his nose looks like a zit, and you can just kind of just squeeze it out. It's really weird because all the other Sonics have, like, you know, the regular, like, you know, this. And then they just kind of gave him this weird zit nose for Classic, which is weird because Classic Sonic is very well known for having that super pointy nose. So it's weird how they gave him this. You know, this could have worked better if it was Tails or something. Also, I think this Sonic has 6 fingers, by the way. He has 6 fingers. He has 5. And then you look at this one, buddy just grows a whole ass new finger. I don't know where the hell this finger came from. I don't think the other Sonics have that finger problem. I might just be going crazy, but bro has a bad. But then we're getting to one where I feel like the why does it exist starts to make sense. Laughing Classic Sonic. For years, I kind of hated this plushie because I never actually managed to get my hands on him. And now since I finally have him, I'm kind of mad about how good this Sonic actually is. Like this. So yeah, when this first released, people were just like, bro, why? This is like the 4th classic Sonic they've made, which is kind of funny because I don't even think Tomy made that many Boom Sonics at the time. So the fact that we had 4 classics within like not that long of a period was very funny. And then it was like, hey, out of all the Sonic variants, someone at Tomy was just like, I want that one. I want this guy. They did it again with Jack Specific years later, which is really funny. But the thing that makes this plush really funny to me is that I think this plush might be the best plush of Classic Sonic here. Which, I know I just said I really like this one, but this guy's really good. Starting off, his spikes are a lot shorter than on the other Sonics. So comparing him here, you can definitely see how short his spikes actually are. He has like the same arm texture, but funny enough, his hands are also better. Like, yeah, Laughing Classic Sonic might be fatter and has shorter spikes, but bro has better hands than this one. Like, the finger placement on this plush is significantly better on the other one, which is kind of crazy. Like, how this one looks better. He has bigger hands too, which is kind of funny. And his nose is better. Like, I actually think the nose on Laughing Classic Sonic is better than all 3 of the Sonics here. It doesn't bend. It looks like Classic Sonic's nose too. It's like really good. They just made one of the best Sonic nose pieces and put it on this guy, which is surprising. His eyes are also pretty good on there. I mean, Tomy is just really good. What you see is, which again, I mean, this plushie is really funny. I love this plush. And the funny thing is the soles on the bottom of the shoes, which this guy lacks, which is kind of crazy. It's really funny that they put more effort into Laughing Classic Sonic than they did Classic Sonic, which makes me think, I think Tomy should have just replaced Classic Sonic with the Laughing one and just made this the main plush, because seriously, I actually think the Laughing Classic Sonic is better than the regular one in a lot of ways. Definitely one of my favorite plushes here. Now, finally, our final Classic Sonic we have for this video, which is a little bit of a historical one. The Tomy Super Sonic. I got a lot to say about this one. Oh, they gave us a really unique Sonic. I'm going to be honest, I actually think the Classic Super Sonic is the worst Sonic plush here. So, of course, we already know the spikes on Tomy are fantastic. The colors are great, and the shoes and all that, which I didn't really cover much, but the shoes are pretty much good. They're kind of just the same across each plush. But the reason why I say I feel like this plush is sort of the worst is because problems that the other characters didn't have are very prominent on this plush for some reason. Like the inconsistent quality control. A lot of the classic Supersonics look very weird. Like, each person has a different looking supersonic. None of them look the same, which is really weird. And the problems that were on this guy, the first collector Sonic, are even more prominent on this plush. First off, the skin color, you know, the fabric and arms being a different texture. Normally on the other characters, you can tell what I mean by it's like a different fabric, but it's sort of like the same color. Here on Supersonic, it's very noticeable. He's just like super light in the face, and then just has like a crazy ass tan going from his arms and body, and it's really noticeable. It's too damn noticeable. His mouth placement is kind of wonky too. It's not his mouth placement, his muzzle, his face. His face is very wonky. When you compare him to this Sonic, and even the 25th anniversary Sonic base, you can sort of see there's at least detail on it. Here it's kind of just flat, and his nose is coming out from like almost his chin. Like, it's really weird where it's centered. It's not like that on any of the other ones. I guess it's kind of like that on this plush, but because it's the more zit looking nose, it looks like his nose is just a giant blackhead, which I just don't like. And I understand I said, but Supersonic is the exception, because classic Supersonic is the only plush where the prototype looks better than the final release. What the fuck happened with this plush? Like, seriously, like in the production phase, like, I can understand this being like a factory reject, but the fact that mine just sort of looks like this, I know there's some people with a better looking classic Supersonic, but the fact that mine looks like this is kind of crazy. A lot of us did not care at the time because this was historical. This is one of the very first plushies of classic Supersonic in years, and we finally got one. And I feel like Tomy is just like, if this was like a Jazzwares or any other company, this guy would have been 10 out of 10. But because Tomy here has so many just really good plushies of Sonic in the back, and this is how they did Supersonic, I feel like it would have looked a lot better if they reused the 25th anniversary base for Supersonic. I think it would have looked a lot better if they just would have went with this guy and just flipped his spikes upside down and made him yellow. Round. I do think that this one has a reason to exist, unlike, I guess, Laughing Sonic, but it's kind of sad because he doesn't even have the soles at the bottom of his shoes, which, funny enough, Laughing Sonic has. And yeah, also another weird one, classic Supersonic is very inconsistent compared to collector's classic Sonic. The eyes on this plush are really small. They're not as big as they were on this one. The skin color is completely different. Shit, the face pattern is completely different. Talking about Tomy's Sonic, even though I just dragged classic Supersonic, I do really like this plush. Like, I do really like it. I just kind of wish this guy looked more like the prototype. But besides that, here are all the Tomy classic Sonic plushies that they've made. These plushies are really good, and they all come with their problems, but Tomy really did a great job with these.